I'm a bit of a Terminator. I don't stop. You know, I won't stop until I get to what I want. I'm not controversial. I speak my mind. It's a trait that people in this country don't do, so it's called controversial.
Yes, he seems to have exploded onto the scene. A man with unrestricted views and opinions on everything football, boxing and sports in general. Is he the voice of reason? Has he got a dodgy haircut? But most importantly, where did he come from? You love him or you hate him, but who really is the man behind the mouth? Mr. Simon Jordan. Bloody hell, I've told my editor time and time again, that's not Simon Jordan. Nigel, will you fucking sort it out? Sorry. That's better. Yes, here he is, Mr. Simon Jordan.
Great.
Born on the 24th of September 1967 in Thornton Heath, South London. Shithole. Anyway, he attended Purley High School for Boys in Old Colston. His talent for football did not go unnoticed as a schoolboy, signing on to the books for Chelsea and Crystal Palace, the Eagles being his childhood team, who his father had played for in previous years. However, in Simon's own words, mentally he was just not interested, and even though he thinks he could have gone all the way, the application was never there. After leaving school, his mind for business quickly overtook his sporting dreams, and he saw a future in the now lucrative mobile phone industry. Now in this day and age, we struggle to live without our mobile phones. We can talk to friends. We can check our bank balance and we can surf the net. However, in the late 1980s, it was still just a futuristic pipe dream and regarded by many as a passing phase. But Simon saw the potential. He joined his friend James Wright selling mobile phones via adverts placed in Loot and Exchange and Mart under the company name Wright Connections. But like most first business ventures, the company achieved fuck all and the friends parted ways. Simon, however, used his knowledge in the industry to land a role in Carphone Warehouse at the turn of the 90s, along with another keen entrepreneur, Mr. Andrew Briggs. After a few years for the warehouse, Simon and Andrew felt they could compete with these outlets and come together to set up their own mobile phone retail company called the Pocket Phone Shop. They invested £15,000 each and began with just one unit in Slough. The venture was a good move. By 2000, the company had over 200 outlets nationwide, forecasting a turnover of 102 million for the financial year. The business was absolutely flourishing, and Simon had become a ruthless businessman. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, I like the geezer, but I wouldn't want to work for him. Fuck that. Anyway, this success caught the eye of one of the biggest mobile phone companies of the time, 1-to-1, who offered to buy them out for over 70 million. The pair accepted the offer, and Simon was now a self-made millionaire. He began to live the life. He bought the luxury cars, the Marbella villas, and went fucking mental with their hair dye. Bosh, no more ginger bollocks, rocking the curtains, fucking love it. Sorry. Anyway, Simon now had a fortune to do the things that he dreamed of and set about his next venture, one that was close to his heart, owning the mighty Crystal Palace.
And may I suggest that you remove the sign saying situation vacant and replace it with one saying situation full. I'm your man.
Christ's sake, Nigel, I've told you that's not Simon Oh, fuck it, that'll do. Anyway, now the club at the time had some heavy financial troubles. Previous owner Mark Goldberg was unable to sustain his financial backing of the club, so it was then purchased by Simon through a mysterious Singapore financier named Jerry Lim for the princely sum of over 10 million. A dream on Simon's bucket list had been fulfilled, and he became the country's youngest football club owner at 32. Now the mighty Palace had recently been relegated during Mark Goldberg's reign, but after appointing himself as chairman, Simon promised promotion back to the Premiership within 5 years. Now we know Simon is a complex character. He's not everyone's cup of tea, which is probably why in the first few years at Palace, he went through managers like a pisshead goes through toilet roll after a dodgy fucking curry. Yes, 5 managers in just a few short years, until Mr. Ian Dowie took over. And, oh, for fuck's sake, Nigel. Ian Dowie, the footballer, you knobhead. Thank you. Yes, the handsome Ian Dowie took over, rejuvenating the club from relegation zone to the playoffs, then emerging victorious to once again take on the Premiership. Jordan had fulfilled his promise, but just 1 year later, they were relegated again. Brilliant. Soon after, Jordan told Dowie to get fucked. No point breaking the habit, I suppose. Anyway, now this was around the beginning of the decline for Jordan and the mighty Eagles. Two more managers in Peter Taylor and Neil Warnock tried to return the club to the Premiership, and even though under Warnock's reign, where the club showed their best form in years, once again reaching the playoffs, he and Taylor ultimately failed. By 2008, the club had begun to fall into deep financial trouble, along with Simon himself, and no buyers were coming forward. Then, after things had gone from bad to worse, just 2 years later, at 3:02 PM on Tuesday the 26th of January 2010, a court order via email was sent confirming the club was no longer in Jordan's ownership. A sad day for the Londoner. Now, the financial catastrophes all over the world in 2008 had caused Simon to lose fortunes. He lost millions in the crash of the Spanish and American property markets. The failing of the Lehman Brothers caused him to lose a portfolio worth $4 million, and a deal with a big Spanish developer went wrong, leaving him being owed several millions. Along with all this, loans within the club totaling around 23 million, the initial 10 plus million he paid, and other financial involvements meant his hobby of owning his boyhood football club had cost him around 40 million. Above all this, he was once again ginger. Poor bastard. In his own words, he had had the shit kicked out of him.
You know, I lost a fortune, and it did affect me.
Yeah.
And it did
Comes
affect
through
me.
in the book.
Yeah, it did affect me, and it causes an impact.
But, ladies and gentlemen, this is Simon Jordan we're talking about. And if there's one thing that Simon Jordan doesn't do, it's sit there feeling sorry for himself, crying over spilt milk. He picked himself up. He pulled out the bleach and said, fuck it, let's crack on. And he did. In 2012, Jordan published his autobiography, Be Careful What You Wish For, telling the whole story of his rise and fall, and it received critical acclaim. Now, upon owning the Palace, and with his flashy style, he had become a kind of celebrity figure, writing articles for The Observer and making major TV appearances. Now, one thing Simon has never shunned away from, he has never backed down from, he's sharing his opinion. And the leading sports radio station talksport knew full well he was a diamond in the rough. They handed him the mic.
Let's get ready to rumble!
2018 saw his first feature as a pundit. 2019 saw him being nominated for Sports Pundit of the Year, and the success of his appearances eventually landed him a seat at the top table with Jim White, the station's flagship show. And now, here we are. Now, as I mentioned before, you either love this man or you don't. But I, for one, ruddy love this man. I think who better to comment on the financials of a football club than the man who has lived and breathed it? And who better to call out the sportsmen and promoters for their dishonesty or their faults than a man who has been there and now has nothing to hide? And who better for the entertainment of the public than a man who will tell it as it is, holding nothing back? What a ruddy legend. This has been the story of the one and only Simon Jordan. Now let's hope he likes this video, because I don't want to argue with him. He tie me up in fucking knots, you know what he's like. But anyway, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you double soon. And oh yes, bosh.